What's up everybody, Steven Z Killer here. It's time to bring you a new reaction video. But before that, 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed. This means two things. You're either brand new to the channel or returning. And I do hope that this video gets you to hit that subscribe button today. Last year, we didn't hit our goal of 400,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. We almost got there, and we were so close to 100,000 new subscribers in that year. But I still need more people to join and subscribe to get my channel to hit 1 million subscribers. This upcoming year, the new goal is 500,000 subscribers, and I need you to hit that subscribe button today so we can hit it this year. I know we can do it. What's up everybody, Steven Z Killer here bringing another reaction. Now today we're checking out some more Five Nights at Freddy's goodness. We have some big things to check out today. So recently we did a reaction to Five Nights at Freddy's 2 reboot video. We did this came out 13 days ago. And we also did a reaction to Five Nights at Freddy's 1 reboot almost 9+ months ago. Which is honestly still crazy to think that this video came out only 9 months ago and they got us a second one afterwards. Honestly, it's impressive. If you haven't seen these two videos, I highly recommend you check it out. Today we're checking out this video right here. Sister Location Timeline is simpler than you think. So we're going to check out this video today. But not only are we checking out that one, we are also checking out the playable reboot trailer. So this has been something people have been asking for since this dropped, most likely. This concept is genius. It is so good. If you haven't seen it yourself, I highly recommend you do it. Go subscribe to The Unwithered Truth. And we're going to also check out this trailer today. I'm excited. So if you haven't, please make sure to go like the original video. Subscribe to the channel. It looks like there's another channel involved in this one, so I'll hit the subscribe button on that one too. And definitely also show your support to this video. This video came out over a year ago. This has been asked since I've watched the first reboot. I think a handful of times that I've been meaning to watch this anyways. Because I do like checking out videos that go through and dissect some stuff with a little bit of extra lore and all that stuff. So this definitely hits that area. And The Unwithered Truth definitely shows a ton of extra stuff that I love. So let's like the original video, show your support. Anyways, let's first dive into the newest video, this trailer that dropped a little bit more than a day ago, and enjoy it. Let's go. Captured in engine.
Do you love a piping hot slice? Well, come on down to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun.
Oh. Played the original. This is the original. You heard the pitch. You asked. The biggest thing I remember from the reboot is the fact that he also added much more game mechanics. Like, I think there's a vent behind you, and the marionette is in the game and can kill you. I won't specify if you haven't seen it. Ooh. Oh my God, yes. Oh. Ooh, so 2026's anniversary. So this might come out for people to play on the 12th year anniversary for FNAF. Oh, that is awesome! Hold up. This is an unofficial fan work and is not authorized or endorsed by affiliate with... Yeah. We do not claim ownership of the original characters, settings, or copyright material, which... Yeah, this is all fandom. If you wish to support this project, there's probably ways to do so. Watching the videos, sharing the content, checking out anything you can do. But they most likely will be releasing this free to the entire public. So if you want to support them any other way, since this game will probably be free for everyone to play, make sure to do so. This is going to be awesome. And I will definitely be looking forward to when this is released. And if you guys get any more updates on that, let me know about it. I'm excited. Everything looks good. Like, they showed a good bit. The fucking vent. The crawling mechanic. The going into other rooms to fix certain things. The stealth mechanic also... Hold up, I just realized. We are literally in the kitchen that we never can see in the original game. That is the kitchen. That is the camera room. That's always just... We can hear Chica fucking around and eating pizza and shit. And that's it. Circus Baby. And also this looks to be... this seems to be the house that we always see Michael in all the the side story stuff. This seems to be the same TV and everything, but it also shows game mechanics even inside Michael's house. Look at this, man. It's been a while. I don't remember that. Mini games. Oh, that's going to be fun. All right. Well, I know there's been quite a few people asking me to check out that video since it dropped. So there you guys go. And then we're also going to be checking out the Sister Location Timeline is Simpler Than You Think video. So let's get into this and check out this video together.
You're inside something that came from my old pizzeria. You're breathing in your heartbeat and causing discreet loss to countries. You don't want that to get too loose. Trust me.
Ooh. Sister Location solved. Okay.
On the 18th of February 2016, the following image was posted to Scott Cawthon's website, scottgames.com. Over the next 2 months, Scott would occasionally update his website and fill in the gaps to this teaser, until eventually, on the 23rd of April, Five Nights at Freddy's sister location was finally announced. This was a big deal at the time, as up to this point we'd been told that FNAF 4 was the final chapter, and that the story of this franchise was officially over. Except obviously it was not. Here was FNAF
That was a fucking lie.
5, and its title was pulled directly from one of the great unsolved mysteries at the time. What mystery, you might ask? Well, in FNAF 3, we were treated to phone guide tapes from years ago, recovered by Fazbear's Fright employees at the FNAF 1 location, along with the rotting corpse of William Afton spring-locked in the back room. In these tapes, Phone Guy, or Ralph as we now know him, details the proper handling
I didn't know he had a proper name.
of springlock suits, of which that location had 2. However, on night 4, Ralph has an announcement to make.
There's been a slight change of company policy concerning use of the suit. Don't. After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the suit temporarily unfit for employees.
They put the word sister location in that dialogue. Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Here, Ralph refers to a
Or I don't remember that.
previously unknown about sister location. In the lead up to FNAF Sister Location, we learned about a new entity known as Circus Baby's Pizza World. Circus Baby's is owned by Fazbear Entertainment, making it a sister company to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which we know due to Circus Baby's sharing intellectual property with Freddy's, such as its characters Freddy and Foxy, and thanks to the Survival Logbook, which roped in Babies with other Fazbear brands. In the lead up to the game's release, we all wanted to know what made this sister location so special. Why have a whole game set here? Would we get to find out what the Springlock failure was? When exactly would this fall on the FNAF timeline? Ever since the game was released just over 8 years ago, happy 8th anniversary sister location, the FNAF community has been in shambles trying to answer these exact questions.
And actually, since this is a year-old video, that means it's been 9 years since it's released.
It seems everyone has their own theories on when Sister Location is set, and today I'm here to throw my hat in the ring and try to answer these questions once and for all, while also providing a satisfying narrative explanation.
This is kind of cool because it even brings up the fact that in the files of the reboot and everything of FNAF 2, he talked about how some of the upcoming videos of like certain reboots, certain things will definitely be intertwined with some of his theory videos like this one.
For them.
Oh, what the hell? I just realized. Why is that at 18? I don't know why, but my audio was super low right there. Huh. I hope that didn't make things too hard for you guys to hear. I'm sorry. Usually I have it set to -10, not -18. Whoops.
Sister Location threw us all for a bit of a loop upon release. Despite the marketing seeming to point to
Sorry for the first portion of this reaction having lower audio than now.
this game taking place within the teased Circus Baby's Pizza World, it turned out that we were actually visiting Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals, and that by the time of the game's story, Baby's Pizza World had been closed for years. Because of this, before we can answer when the game itself takes place, we have to understand when the original restaurant was opened and closed so that we consider our evidence relative to that date. For the rest of the video, it's important not to get these two locations confused, which is easy to do considering the very similar names. So remember, Pizza World was the original restaurant with Circus Baby and the Fun Times, which closed before the events of Sister Location, and Entertainment and Rentals is an underground facility opened after the original restaurant shut down and is where the game takes place. As I already mentioned, the term Sister Location was only ever used once prior in the series, in the FNAF 3 Night 4 training tape. Over the last 8 years, the FNAF community has grappled with so much contradictory evidence and confusing plot lines that this original connection has become blurred and near forgotten. Nowadays, it's very rarely that I see Sister Location be related to the Sister Location mentioned in FNAF 3. A lot of people seem to have picked up the belief that Fredbear's Family Diner is actually the aforementioned Springlock failure location, and some even think that the FNAF 3 tapes are referring to the fight of '83. Very quickly, I'd like to put that debate to rest. In FNAF 3,
Oh, this is going in a way different route. Okay.
we're told that Springlocks are specially designed suits that double as both animatronic and suit. Springlocks, when changed from animatronic to suit mode,
Recoil and compress the animatronic parts around the sides of the suit.
on the following night we're informed not to
Touch the spring locks at any time. Do not breathe on the spring locks, as moisture may loosen them and cause them to break loose.
It's pretty evident that Springlocks can only fail if they are in suit mode, as that is when they are compressed. In animatronic mode, Springlocks are already extended and thus can't fail. Therefore, considering Fredbear was in animatronic mode during the bite of '83, there is literally no way that this can be considered a Springlock failure. Anyway, tangent about Fredbear
Okay.
aside, I really am surprised at how many people seem to overlook Circus Babies being the sister location. Thanks to my own background as a storyteller/writer, I always try to view the series lore through the eyes of Scott Cawthon, as a man trying to create a story, rather than a puzzle maker revealing truths about a perfectly crafted timeline. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Circus Babies is the sister location, because why else would the game be called that? Now, it is fair to say that
True.
the title is a play on words, as Elizabeth Afton, who haunts the main antagonist, is our protagonist, Eggs Benedict's sister. But that doesn't mean the title can't have two meanings. It's a double entendre. But the title isn't the only evidence. Far from it. On night 4 of Sister Location, we awaken inside some sort of mascot costume in a dark room. Circus Baby begins to speak to us and tells us the following.
Shh, be still and quiet. You've been sleeping for quite a while. You're inside something that came from my old pizzeria.
It's revealed that the suit we're inside of
My
is,
old
in fact,
pizzeria,
a
okay.
spring lock suit. Baby warns us that if we don't keep the spring locks wound, something very bad will happen. The main contention from this entire night comes from the following line referring to the suit.
I don't think it was ever used. At least not the way it was meant to be used. Too dangerous.
This line is both super explicit and very confusing. It's a little poorly worded, but it is trying to communicate something very simple. We are currently inside the springlock suit, which caused the rest of them to be retired. Now, immediately I know there will be a lot of people itching to contradict me in the comments, but let me explain. The reason this line confuses people so much is due to Baby saying that the suit was never used, followed by her saying it was too dangerous. This would seem to imply that the suit was never used at all because it was deemed too dangerous before there was a chance to, which makes us think of FNAF 3's training tape saying that the springlocks were retired. However, I'm going to break down this line bit by bit and tell you why that's not what Baby is saying.
I don't think it was ever used.
This suit, to my knowledge, was never operated publicly.
At least not the way it was meant to be used.
Someone tried to use it as intended, but something went wrong, and there was a springlock failure.
Too dangerous.
Once the springlocks failed, it was deemed too dangerous to ever be used again, and thus was never used the way it was meant to be. If Baby meant to say that the springlocks were retired before her pizzeria opened, one would have to answer why a new springlock suit was created for her pizzeria at all. This suit is very clearly designed to be in line with the rest of the
Well, there's also, like, this is also released way before the Secret of the Mimic game, but that also could be some of the factor. There could be some connection. Ooh, if he makes an update video on this with some of the lore and some of the knowledge we have from the Secret of the Mimic. Ooh, okay.
Funtime animatronics. It has the segmented faceplates and all. And despite a few recent theories suggesting that this might just be another springlock in storage at Circus Babies, I don't think this is the case. The suit does not line up visually with any other springlock we've ever seen, and is almost certainly an original design for this.
Well, it looks like it's in the shape and design of basically Chica version of these. Am I wrong to say that? It really does look like a toy Chica almost.
New restaurant.
We know the suit model isn't canon, but it's the closest thing to... Okay, so this is not this is actually not a... Okay.
We should also consider that Baby is very much aware of what will happen to somebody who is springlocked, which would imply she's witnessed or at least been made aware of a springlock failure.
You don't want them to get too loose. Trust me.
And if these suits were retired before her restaurant ever opened, then how would she know any of that? Now, some of you might ask why Scott would word this part in that way, but I would ask, why in God's name would there be an entire night dedicated to a springlock suit with implied lethal history in a game named after the only reference to a sister location in the entire series, which comes from a tape about springlock failures?
Honestly, confusion and chaos. Scott is evil.
This is what I mean when I say we need to start considering FNAF as a story rather than a perfect puzzle assembled from completely factual and logical information alone. Scott made a game set around the sister location and put a springlock suit in it to answer a lingering question we had from FNAF 3. Okay, so sister location is the sister location. Some of you are pounding your head against a wall at how obvious that sounds. I know, so was I. But what does that tell us about the timeline? Well, in those same FNAF 3 tapes, we also learned that after the springlocks are retired, the missing children's incident occurs. This means that Circus Baby's Pizza World had to exist in some form, at the latest, in June 1985, right before the MCI. Thank you to everyone who pointed out that I said July in my last video. Now, there is a line from Hand Unit which people are going to point at to disprove this, but I'll discuss that line in the following chapter. Baby and the Funtines existing before the MCI is not going to be a popular opinion. However, I think I have a satisfying narrative which fits with this evidence-based conclusion, and you'll see me talk about that at the end. But if you're still not convinced that Circus Babies is open pre-MCI, I'd like to point your attention to the game's opening cutscene.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Mr. Afton.
Yep.
Now, if we are to believe that William is operating under a pseudonym during FNAF 2 and masquerading as a night guard, and potentially as a technician in the week before, then it's safe to assume that as early as 1987, William wouldn't have been operating as a public figure, presumably due to his linking with the MCI. And if that's the case, then something tells me that William wouldn't have been opening many children's restaurants after having been tied to the disappearance of nearly half a dozen kids. So now that we have our basis for when Circus Baby's Pizza World closed, when does its follow-up Entertainment and Rentals open? Earlier I mentioned a line which people use as evidence to say that Circus Baby's Pizza World couldn't have been opened pre-Freddy's closing. That line comes from the very first night of Sister Location, where our helpful AI guide, Hand Unit, says this.
Due to the massive success, and even more so the unfortunate closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, it was clear that the stage was set, no pun intended, for another contender in children's entertainment.
At first this might seem like pretty good counter-evidence to what I suggested in the previous chapter, but if we keep listening, we learn that this line is actually not about Circus Baby's Pizza World at all.
Unlike most entertainment venues, our robotic entertainers are rented out for private parties during the day.
Hand Unit here is referring to Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, the successor to Pizza World. So this raises the question, when did Entertainment and Rentals open? We have three main closures of Freddy's as far as we're currently aware. The original Prime Freddy's, which opened in 1983 and closed sometime after the MCI in 1985, but before 1987. The second New and Improved Freddy's, which opened in 1987 and closed 2 weeks later after the bite of 87. And the final Freddy's, which opened in 1989, go watch my week before theory to see where I got that date, and presumably closed by that year's end, as told to us by the newspaper clippings in FNAF 1. Now, Hand Unit says that Freddy's was a massive success before it closed, which sort of eliminates that third option. We know from the week before that the FNAF 1 location is far from a success, though we should keep in mind that as a spokesperson for Fazbear Entertainment, Hand Unit could be using marketing speak to describe Freddy's in a better light than is accurate. However, we can look to the Scott Games website teasers for more information on when exactly Circus Babies was reimagined as a rental service. One of Scott's website teasers leading up to the game tells us that the original Circus Babies Pizza World was only in operation for 1 day, which is confirmed by Baby in game.
Did you know that I was on stage once? It wasn't for very long. Only 1 day.
After Elizabeth Afton is killed by Circus Baby, the restaurant is shut down, with the publicly stated reason being due to gas leaks. This seems like an obvious cover-up of what really happened, and most people in the FNAF community know about this teaser. However, what I never see brought up is the following quote, which comes from the source code of that very same teaser. "If anything, it was just too soon for such an ambitious venture. There is still a bright future."
It still puzzled me how they can cover up a death of a child like that's connected to the owner, like even a death from a kid that isn't part of the owner, like it still raised some suspicions. People who go there naturally and or know the family would know about Elizabeth.
For Circus Baby, so be watching for her to appear at a neighborhood party near you. This seems to be the comment the news story was looking for from our local entrepreneur, who we know to be William Afton. This tells us that plans for the entertainment and rental service were already in motion pretty soon after the incident that caused Pizza World to be shut down. With that in mind, I would imagine that the unfortunate closure hand unit references is in fact the shutdown of Freddy's post-MCI in 1985. Some further evidence for this would be the inclusion of the character Funtime Foxy in the 1987 location. In FNAF 2, we were first introduced to a broken up pink and white version of Foxy, seemingly introduced alongside the other toy animatronics in that location, named by staff as the Mangle, due to how it was torn apart and put back together by kids. However, if we pay close attention to what Ralph tells us about the Mangle, it seems that they may predate the location itself.
They tried to remake Foxy, you know? They thought the first one was too scary, so they redesigned them to be more kid-friendly instead of in Kids Cove. But kids these days just can't keep their hands to themselves. The staff literally had to put Foxy back together at the end of every shift.
Since the FNAF 2 location was only open for a week by the time that we worked there, it would seem a little soon for the staff to just give up and leave Foxy as he was, right? And in my opinion, it's a bit redundant to say that Foxy was redesigned to be kid-friendly when that's the entire reason for the toy's redesigns. We even know for a fact that Foxy isn't a toy, ever since FNAF World. In FNAF World, the unmangled Foxy is...
Okay, when it comes to FNAF World, I'm not really that well diverse in that game. I know of it, I know it has some connections, but...
It's called Funtime Foxy, not Toy Foxy, which never made any sense to me as a kid. At least, not until Sister Location, when we found out that Funtime animatronics are a sub-brand which featured in Circus Babies. In Help Wanted, we even see that as early as 1983, there were Funtime Foxy masks which existed alongside the Core 4 and Balloon Boy. Now, I'm not suggesting that Funtime Foxy and Sister Location is the same physical animatronic as Mangle, only that they share the same name in Fazbear branding, perhaps as some sort of cross-promotion between Freddy's and Circus Babies. Okay, so now we know that Pizza World opened sometime in the early 80s, most likely around the time that the Fazbear Entertainment Company was expanding, and still utilizing spring locks. Elizabeth Afton gets scooped up by Baby, Pizza World shuts down, then the missing children's incident occurs at the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Soon thereafter, the original Freddy's closes, but not before being left to rot for quite a while, as told to us by Phone Guy in FNAF 2. Circus Babies Entertainment and Rentals is opened as planned, most likely sometime in 1986, and stays in operation for many years to come. But that still doesn't tell us when we, as Michael Afton, go to the bunker and play through the events of Sister Location. I do have an answer for this, but just quickly before that, let me debunk when some others have suggested the game takes place.
Okay. Chapter 3, Odor. Let's talk about
At the end of
Michael's-
Sister Location, Baby and her band merge into a singular entity known as Ennard, sharing one body between them, and trick our protagonist Michael into entering the scooping room. Baby explains that while they've tried to escape before, they're always caught because they look like this.
But if we looked like you...
They proceed to relieve Mike of his internal organs and wear his body as a skin suit, which slowly decays over the course of what we can assume to be a week. Eventually, Michael becomes too haunting in appearance to be any use to them, and thus they leave his crumpled body on the side of the road and escape into the sewers. And
somehow he gets brought back to life in his own rotting corpse of a body.
Michael gets up. Okay, so exactly how this works is unclear, but Michael somehow survives this experience, most likely due to Remnant. Remnant, if you're unaware, is a liquid metal soul juice which appears to have healing properties as used by various characters in the books. This franchise is so weird.
Has healing factor? I did not know about that. What the fuck?
Anyway, since the game came out, people have used the fact that Michael is a walking corpse to explain why in FNAF 1 he's fired for odor on night 7. Fritz Smith is fired for the same reason in FNAF 2, which people then use as evidence to say that Mike is also Fritz. Now, I'm not saying one way or another if Mike is Fritz, but the odor thing, while interesting, is pretty weak evidence to conclude that Sister Location is set before FNAF 2. First of all, we're told in Help Wanted,
you can always tell when a company is getting ready to fire someone. They start giving out written warnings for silly things, making sure to build a paper trail and make a case for a firing. Things that normally no one would care about, suddenly become grave offenses.
This to me sounds like a pretty overt reference to something as silly as odor being a reason for firing somebody, especially considering they're a night guard who never interacts with anyone else in the
Yeah, you know, that never dawned on me. You got fired when you were doing the night shift, and you did. And to be fair, I've worked retail. There are some people who need to know to fucking take a shower in retail, let alone, I guess, a pizzeria. But the fact that he is a solo guard, yeah, that makes no sense on the odor thing.
company. That's right, neither Mike nor Fritz nor whoever works for Fazbear ever interacts with another soul while on the night shift. Ralph even confirms as much in the week before. This odor reason is still most likely what it was when the first game came out, a way to troll people who beat the hardest night of the game. Oh, nice one, you beat the game? Think you're cool? Well, you're fired, and you stink.
You're fired and you smell bad! Go take a shower!
Anyway, considering that's really the only evidence I've seen for Sister Location taking place pre-FNAF 2, and it makes very little sense to suggest that Scrap Baby and Molten Freddy were wandering around for 30 years between Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator, when do I think Sister Location takes place? To answer that, we need to determine what exactly the Funtime animatronics are all about.
Molten MCI. Okay.
Those of you who are very familiar with the franchise are most likely aware of the Molten MCI theory, but you may not be aware of how much evidence has mounted over the years.
I'll be honest, I don't know that theory.
Since it was first proposed, so I'm going to break it all down here. In Sister Location, we're introduced to 4 new animatronics. These animatronics are by far the most aggressive and unpredictable of any we've seen up to this point in the series, constantly breaking down, attempting to escape, and implied to have injured or killed multiple employees over the years. When the game released, it wasn't clear how exactly these characters fit into the story. We found in secret blueprints hidden in the game that these Funtimes had some questionable features built into them. It became pretty obvious that these robots had ulterior motives behind their designs.
Like Funtime Freddy having like a giant empty thing in the chest cavity where he could hide children.
And considering our child-killing maniac William Afton is the one who built them, it's clear what his intentions were when opening Circus Baby's Pizza World. At the time, this got people thinking that the Funtimes were indeed possessed, but by a fresh set of kids killed by the shiny metal monstrosities themselves while rented out to kids' birthday parties.
Oh, I do
However,
remember
the
people
sequel to the
talking
game,
about that,
Freddy
yeah.
Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, seemed to suggest something different. As mentioned at the end of Sister Location, Ennard uses Michael as a skin suit to escape the facility and eventually discards his rotten corpse shell to escape into the sewers. Sometime after this, thanks to a conversation which occurred through source code teasers across Scott's 2 websites, we know that Baby's band got sick of Elizabeth bossing them around and booted her from the amalgamation. The next time we see them in Pizzeria Simulator, Ennard has rebranded into Molten Freddy, and from what we learned in that game, these souls may not be as unfamiliar to us as we first thought. Throughout Pizzeria Simulator, we can listen to stories from Candy Cadet, a purchasable animatronic storyteller, all of which share a theme of 5 things becoming one. In the Insanity ending of the game, Henry, William Afton's old business partner, says this.
He lured them all back to a familiar place, back with familiar tricks. He led them there, again. He overpowered them, again. And he robbed them of the only thing that they had, again.
Again, again, again. In Help Wanted's Ennard repair level, there are 4 original endoskeletons from the FNAF 1 animatronics stuffed together in a furnace, seemingly being melted down to harvest remnant. The blueprints from Pizza Sim also tell us that the scooper from Sister Location is a remnant injector, meaning that William was most likely using it to transfer remnant from the melted down animatronics to the Funtimes. This all came as a bit of a surprise.
Okay, I remember that being talked about.
As we were under the impression that FNAF 3's good ending, wherein we set free the 5 original souls, was the canon version of events. However, within the last couple of months, I've seen a few YouTube theorists put forward a really interesting interpretation of Molten Freddy based on his design. In FNAF 3, if we fail to complete the Happiest Day minigames and achieve the good ending, we're met with the bad ending, wherein the masks of the original 5 animatronics have lights on inside of their masks, specifically each of them in their left eye sockets.
Oh, that's actually a cool connection. Oh, shit.
Quick side note, no, Golden Freddy does not have 2 eye lights. It's one which is reflecting against the back of the mask, made brighter so that the mask can be seen in the dark. You can even see the single light source glow in the left eye, same as all the rest. Anyway, Molten Freddy's design calls back to this by only having one eye lit up, the same as in the FNAF 3 bad ending. Molten Freddy is the bad ending of FNAF 3. Further evidence for Molten MCI comes from the Silver Eyes trilogy of books that, while they are not canon, have certain characters and plot points which are direct parallels to the games. In the third book of the series, The Fourth Closet, William Afton melts down the original animatronics into a singular amalgamation under his control. Now, the graphic novel for this book depicts the monster as this thing, but if you actually read the book, it is described as such. The plastic tarp slid from the table, and Jessica startled and stared at what was underneath. There was a melted scrap heap. Masses of undefined tangles and cords melted into one another and fused together. She could recognize certain elements. A leg, a finger, an eye socket. They're in there, and they're in pain. Now, that sounds a hell of a lot like Molten Freddy.
Yeah, I see the connection, especially with the eye socket, a single eye socket.
A mass of molten wires with no defined mechanisms but moving of its own free will. So, if the fun times are indeed injected with the melted down remnant of the original 4 Freddy's animatronics, when exactly did this happen? Well, it has to be after FNAF 1. Up until that point, the children's spirits are still clearly possessing the animatronics. The only time we see the FNAF 1 animatronics post that game is in FNAF 3's End of Night minigames, where good old Willie A breaks into the FNAF 1 location and disassembles Freddy and the gang, only to get springlocked. What I and many other theorists suggest is that in between these minigames, William takes the costumeless endoskeletons back to Circus Babies, potentially through tunnels connecting FNAF 1 to the bunker. Check out this video, it's really interesting. And then melts them down, injecting their remnant into the fun times. Some people argue that this minigame takes place before FNAF 2 as well, as the minigame sprites have buttons like the Wizards. But Scott's never been exactly consistent with his
That is very true.
game sprites. Now, it's important to note that this doesn't mean the fun time.
And it's also put a lot of like a fork in the road for theories and stuff like that, with how inaccurate some things can be in certain situations, like the mini games and stuff.
Couldn't be built until after this point, as we know that Remnant can be added to a robot after its initial creation. In The Fourth Closet, William literally does so to none other than Funtime Freddy with a Remnant-infused syringe. Okay, so is there anything else to narrow down Sister Location's timeline placement? Well, yes, actually. At the end of the game, Michael speaks to his father in a seemingly non-diegetic monologue, and he says that his father was the one who sent him here. He also says that now his sister and the others are free, that there is only one thing left to do.
I'm going to come find you.
We're then shown an image of the burnt-down Fazbear's Fright location post-FNAF 3, and while this can be a bit more open to interpretation, I think there's a clear winner in terms of what Scott was intending by pairing these lines with these visuals. Michael says that he's going to come find his father, meaning that William is missing, and seemingly has been for some time. We know that the two reunite in FNAF 3, resulting in what we see in this very cutscene. I think we're hearing Mike set up his intentions for FNAF 3, and that Scott is showing us Springtrap survived after FNAF 3, leading us neatly into Pizzeria Simulator.
Yeah.
So, considering all the evidence I've laid out, while we don't have a definitive year exactly to lock down Sister Location on the timeline, we know that it takes place after FNAF 1 and before FNAF 3, with the Pizzeria Simulator occurring sometime soon after that. But wait, you're probably wondering right now, why would William Afton invent his murder robots in 1985 before the MCI? Surely it makes more sense for him to step up his methods of killing one after the other rather than going backwards, right? Well, you see, to use the books as evidence again, something I know people will be mad about, William states the following directly, explaining why he commits the MCI in that universe.
The most terrible accidents sometimes bear the most beautiful fruits,
He said, as if to himself.
Recreating the accident. That is the duty and the honor of science. To replicate the experiment and obtain the same result.
Baby killing William's daughter was an accident, but what he learned from that tragedy inspired an obsession in him that would lead him to do horrible things. So, while this next part might be teetering on the edge of fan fiction territory, I would like to propose...
And it just shows how much of a scumbag he was. He didn't go... Like, he probably had some feelings of loss, but he pushed that to the deepest bowels of him and said, this has given me more ideas on science.
My interpretation of the early parts of the FNAF story, given what Sister Location tells us about its timeline placement.
The man behind the slaughter, okay.
Sometime in the 1970s, William Afton and Henry Emily opened Fredbear's Family Diner, an animatronic-centric eatery aimed at child-friendly fun. The business grows and grows until it is eventually folded into Fazbear Entertainment's media conglomerate. The main stars of the show, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, are the latest innovations in animatronic technology. Springlock suits that can double as both animatronic performers and wearable costumes, to maintain authenticity between performances. William is an unstable man, brilliant in his engineering ability, but always feeling second best to his co-owner and business partner. His feelings toward Henry range from wild jealousy to near worship, and he is always trying to one-up or impress him. William's obsession with his work leaves his 3 children, Michael, David, and Elizabeth, without a parent in the house to take care of them, so they stay in or are forced to go to work with their father around the corner from their home. Michael bullies his little brother horrendously, until one day he accidentally takes it too far and, while playing a practical joke on his brother, gets him killed. David's head is crushed by the jaws of the animatronic that William's best friend and greatest rival created. William slowly goes mad, sure that he will have revenge on Henry. In the wake of David's death, Fredbear's is rebranded, pushing the classic characters into the background while bolstering the new Freddy's gang that had come from Fazbear's popular cartoon series. Henry also designs a security puppet to keep an eye on his daughter to make sure she is safe. William hates that puppet. If it had been there when Michael and his friends had done what they did to David, then maybe another one of Henry's creations, another one William could prove could fail. William places a heavy box atop the security puppet's resting place and waits for Charlie to be pushed outside, as she always was by the wicked children who went to Freddy's. William seizes his opportunity, desperate to prove that Henry is no better than him. His family would be no less broken than his. He kills Charlie and leaves her in the alley, speeding away in his car. However, the security puppet finds its way outside and collapses on Charlie's body, broken by the rain, but given new life by Charlie's ebbing spirit. Over the next few months, employees, including William, notice that the puppet is acting differently.
I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking, and it can go anywhere.
Purple tear tracks have also appeared on its mask. William realizes that something has happened to the puppet that he can't explain. He needs to know more. He needs proof. William starts work on his own restaurant, his relationship with Henry having deteriorated beyond repair. He designs robots to capture children left abandoned by their families. It'll be the perfect crime. Nobody will suspect him. The parents will be too distracted by his perfect machines to keep track of their children. Once he has them, he can experiment on them and recreate what he did to Charlie. In the lead up to Freddy's sister location's opening, during training, an employee is springlocked and killed, leading to the springlock suits being retired across Fazbear franchises. No matter, the show must go on. Circus Babies opens for one day, a test with kids from the locality to see how things are working.
Yeah, but
then William falls victim to his own design. Elizabeth is killed by Circus Baby, and she too undergoes a transformation. Like the puppet's
The
tear
green
tracks,
eyes.
Baby's eyes turn from blue to green, altering to match his late daughter's. William has done it. He's proven that this possession is real, but it's too late for his fun times. Circus Baby's pizza world is shuttered, and the animatronics are moved to Fazbear's bunker. The designs which raised red flags in the board meetings are being discussed again, but he needs more. More proof. More material to work with. Circus Baby's closed too soon, and his daughter's soul won't be enough. All this time, as William's little experiment has risen and failed, Henry's Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has been thriving. Despite his efforts to destroy Henry's life, Charlie's death was covered up. William won't fail again. William goes to Freddy's and uses his old, reliable Springlock suit, sitting useless in the back room, to lure and murder 5 more children, stuffing the suits of Henry's creation with their bodies. William's experiment proves a success, and in the process, he's destroyed the reputation of Freddy's forever.
Theory complete! I like a lot of the things you pointed out in this. This was really good, I think.
So, there you have it, my suggested timeline for the early days of William's mistakes and murders based on all the evidence given to us by Sister Location and the surrounding.
With the lore, the details, and everything, I can agree with a lot of these ideas and statements of where it places in the timeline. But of course, with time, we can get more information and get things more clear, with also possibly getting more questions, thanks to Scott.
Games. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more upcoming FNAF theories, and if you haven't already, go check out my first video on the FNAF timeline, pinning down exactly when FNAF 1 takes place, thanks to what we learned from the week before. I was absolutely amazed by the momentous support you've all shown that first video, even from those of you who didn't necessarily agree with my conclusion. I'm really excited to make more FNAF theories, and I hope you'll join me in the future to help piece together the story of this franchise which we've all come to love.
Besides the reboot videos, I do also want to check out more, and whenever there are new videos dropped by this channel, I definitely want to check out them when they're available.
Over the last 10 years. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Yeah, and once again, show your support to the Withered Truth. Definitely deserves the love and support. Hopefully that new FNAF 2 reboot video is doing wonderfully. I think it just recently hit over 1 million views, so go check out that video. And of course, if you want to see my reactions to both the reboot of 1 and 2, that's available on the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, don't miss out on future videos, and if you have suggestions, comment down below. Till next time, later!
There's a name that shines bright, bringing joy to the night. Steven's killer, he's the king of the screen. With his epic playthroughs, he ranks as a meme. Laughing out loud as we watch him explore. From horror to laughter, we can't help but want more. With a heart full of passion, he shares his delight. Steven's killer, take us on another one.